Live from 2 News. This is Talkin Real, powered by Strong Auto Group.
Good evening. Welcome to another Talkin Real edition of Talkin Sports. Brian Dunseth and I are here every Thursday night on KMYU, and this is streaming online at KUTV.com. Brian, last Thursday, we told everybody RSL is going to be shorthanded in New England. Tonight, we're here to tell everybody the word of the week, redemption.
As you got to hope so. I mean, listen, we went into New England recognizing that you're missing 10 players, 7 potential starters. That's over 500 games played in Major League Soccer. And look at the names that we're missing in action on the road in New England. No James Olave because of red card suspension. Nick Raimondo with a knee injury. Chris Schuler with a knee injury. Joao Plata with a 5th metatarsal. Sebastian Jaime with a tibia. Jordan Allen with U.S. under-20. Bofo Saucedo injured. Justin Glad with U.S. international duty. This is a team that was beat up heading into an artificial surface against what I believe is the best team in the Eastern Conference.
On the other hand, they'd won there 3 times in a row with shorthanded lineups, and it was even for 33 minutes, 6 shots apiece. Then, in the 39th minute, Chris Tierney, oh, beauty.
He's known as a player in this league that can play high in wide positions. Now he's a converted left back, but watch the Cruyff gets away from Tony Beltran, picks his head up. And I can't remember the last time that Chris Tierney took a shot with his right foot, much less picked out far post side net. Fantastic goal. Nothing that Jeff Attinella or the Real Salt Lake defense could do about it.
RSL just wanted to get to the half, down a goal, but then in the 43rd minute, you could feel it slipping away.
Well, you talked about that. 6-6 in terms of shots generated until the 33rd minute. From that moment on, it was 19-1 in favor of the home side. And Charlie Davies, Teal Bunbury, that man Juan Agudelo linking up early and often.
Second half, it gets worse and worse. Scott Caldwell the service in, Davies the header, 3-0.
And here's the thing about this team. The group that played in Boston for Real Salt Lake was a team that competed well for the first 35 minutes of the match. And then the wheels fell off. And that's when the New England Revolution smelled blood in the water. I felt like Charlie Davies was in an offside position, but that goal scout and made it 3-0.
84th minute. This was really the story of Jeff Attinella's night. Make a save, but RSL can't clear it. He had 9 saves on the night, but he gave up 4 goals.
Yeah, and to put it in perspective, this is Scotty Caldwell's first goal in Major League Soccer. 1 big save, a 2nd big save, and left-footed, top of the 18-yard box. It ends up megging Tony Beltran. And the route would be complete, as it would be a 4-0 win for the home side, New England Revolution.
So here are the Western Conference standings. Vancouver still on top with 16 points. Then Dallas, Seattle, and LA all bunched up, 14, 13, and 12. And then another group, 4 more teams, including RSL, and this week's opponent, San Jose, separated by just 1 point. So Dunny, roughly a quarter of the way through the season, the West is a hyper-competitive, jumbled mess. If RSL finds a way to start putting the ball in the back of the net, obviously they can rocket up through the standings pretty quickly. The whole deal is, how do they start putting the ball in the back of the net?
Well, and a lot of pressure comes down to Alvaro Sabrillo. And on the road in New England, he was by himself. We saw an adjustment to a 4-4-2 in the diamond, thinking that Olmes Garcia would be a little bit closer. But when you take a look back at what happened, in particular with Alvaro Sabrillo, even when he forced mistakes, look at the recovery speed from Andrew Farrell and how quickly, even with a poor decision, he was able to get back in the right spot. And for RSL fans, Andrew Farrell is the 2015 version of the 2010 version of James Olave. Speed, strength, athleticism, in dangerous spots. And even when Sabo could find a little bit of crack of daylight, you got Jermaine Jones converting back with no Jose Gonçalves alongside Farrell. Just couldn't keep that shot on frame. When he's played in, this is where the frustration starts to set in. But this is what I love, and I'll tell you why, DJ. I love the fact that Alvaro Sabrillo picks up the yellow card. Yeah, he was frustrated, but that to me tells me, regardless of what went wrong, he was tuned into the match, and he was prideful in his performance. And even though he was subbed out in the 60th minute and things didn't go well, this is a game where the Band-Aid was absolutely ripped off. That's kind of good news for RSL, because now they can really take a good, strong look at themselves as they prepare for San Jose.
It's early in the year for an irresponsible sportscaster to label this a big game, but RSL and San Jose's position in the Western Conference standings, combined with the fact that RSL won 1-0 at San Jose earlier this year. Combined with the fact RSL's 316-minute scoreless stretch, well, that just gives this game a little more juice than the average late April game.
It'll be tough. That game was really difficult. It's always tough to keep Wondolowski quiet for so long, and but that will be a main focus. And but you know, we'll look at the tape, I'm sure, see what we did really well, see what we could work on, and of course we're always trying to get more goals.
They're going to have a little bug in their stomach about us beating them at their place, so they'll have some fire, and we definitely have to play better than our last game, and I think we'll do that.
All right, so Dunny, revenge. Is that something the players are expected to talk about on TV, so they do, or is this something the Earthquake players will actually be thinking about in the locker room before the game?
Yeah, absolutely. Revenge will be a big conversation for Dominic Kinnear, for Chris Wondolowski, for the San Jose Earthquakes, because they felt like they dominated in that match against Real Salt Lake, and somehow they came away with 0 points at home. It's a team really still trying to find its legs. That being said, we need more villains, and I think that's what we're going to get with San Jose.
Highlights from the April 5th meeting, partly to refresh your memory, but mostly just to watch this ball. Wicked! Oh, that thing is knuckling and breaking into the top right corner off the bar.
Yeah, and unfortunately for Real Salt Lake, this is the last goal that they scored in the run of play. And defensively, they look strong, even with dangerous balls in the box. Adam John right there trying a little Cruyff, trying to push it past Nick Armando, far post, side net, and Olmis Garcia was very, very active. Early injury to the right back for San Jose, brought in J.J. Cavallo, converted defensive midfielder, cleared off the line. Little Jorge Campos, a little too aggressive right there as Bernardes went down, faking injury. Ball whipped in, dying seconds of the match, and ball's not cleared, comes off the chest of Abdoulaye Mansali. Poor defensive effort, and ball up over the top. And again, Real Salt Lake being able to walk out of Avaya Stadium against the San Jose Earthquakes, a team that's a lot of people are thinking could potentially be a Western Conference playoff team. That was a solid result on the road.
All right, this matchup may not need any more juice, but the game in San Jose, very physical. If nothing else, that makes this game really intense.
Well, and if you look back at the 2-0 loss on the road at New York Red Bulls a couple weeks ago, this is a team that was just cut apart, and Sasha Kleshton in particular was just running rampant. And then keep an eye on the back, that left-hand part of your screen, Grella. Right place, right time, and New York continues to be the only undefeated team in Major League Soccer. But what's interesting about this match in particular, Dom Kinnear rested Chris Wondolowski, didn't bring him off the bench until the 60th minute. That's a very, very telling situation for a Dominic Kinnear side that's still trying to pick out what the best starting 11 actually looks like.
All right, so San Jose has their issues, RSL has their issues, and it was an intense physical game.
Yeah.
Some of the tackles really bothered you in the last one.
It did, because I thought there were a couple cheap shots thrown out, in particular Fatai Alashi, the U.S. under-23 teammate of Luis Gil. And right there, you watch the second leg come through, and listen, if you're an RSL fan, you remember the tackle against Chivas USA, the dislocated ankle from Javier Morales. That's the same exact tackle. I do not understand how the disciplinary committee did not give him multiple games for that tackle alone, but poor Jordan Allen. A year ago, he suffers a tackle, an injury that leads to a knee surgery that kept him out the better part of the year, and you can see that look on his face. Man, really? Is this going to continue to happen against San Jose? Dangerous challenge, Innocent Imagara. He would get a game suspension for this elbow to the face of Luke Mulholland, as well as an official warning for the San Jose Earthquakes about their surrounding the referee. I thought that should have been a penalty kick as well. There's a lot of question marks, and I'm all good with the chippiness. That being said, there's got to be a fine line where Real Salt Lake's protected, and at the same time, they start to protect themselves a little bit. It's a good game to get stuck in.
Certainly the fact that they played so recently will lead to a little bit of carryover, and you can obviously prepare for what you saw in the last game, but each match usually takes on a life of its own also. RSL coach Jeff Cassar expects this match to be different, in part because he expects several changes to the Earthquakes lineup.
I think Marvell wins back for them on the outside back. They played Innocent up high, whereas we had Adam John in the game that we played him. So that makes them more dynamic. They're able to get at the back line quicker. Wando's back and going to be healthy, and so they're getting healthier too. But they pose some threats offensively for sure.
Jeff Cassar on the lineups. What do you expect out of the Quakes? They're starting 11.
Yeah, two weeks off. I think Cordell Cato, potentially Jordan Stewart gets the start at left back. Victor Bernardes, Clarence Goodson, Marvell Wynn. Keep an eye on the goalkeeper, David Bingham. He's a great shot stopper, doesn't hold on to a lot. JJ Caval, Fatai Alashe, the number 27, who tackled Javier Morales late in the game. I think they sit in front of the back four. Those are your destroyers. The number 10, MPG, will sit underneath Chris Wondolowski. Innocent Magara will be over on the left-hand side. Sananiasi, his speed, his athleticism, very dynamic on the right-hand side. Potentially say Salinas. But to be honest with you, DJ, I'm not sure in any way, shape, or form Dominic Kinnear has figured out what his best starting 11 is, what his best tactical shape looks like, and he definitely hasn't got the best out of his team yet.
All right, for Real Salt Lake, Jeff Cassar has some interesting decisions to make. Don't second guess him, Dunny. First guess, what do you think happens? Because Luke Mendenhall could go into the midfield, but Gill could go as a wing.
Yeah.
Or Jordan Allen could go there. Who goes to the bench?
This is the look that I'm thinking of. You got Abdoulaye Mansali potentially on that left-hand side, DeMar Phillips. The question is Chris Schuler, at what point is able to come back into the starting 11? I expect Vasquez to be there alongside James and Olave. Tony Beltran over on that right. Mulholland, Gill, I think right now you kind of got to give the nod to Mulholland based on his play and fitting in. Javier Morales is back. Olmes Garcia on the left. Jordan Allen's over on the right. Alvaro Saborio up top. So you're getting those games missing back. And the bottom line, Real Salt Lake goes on the road to the New England Revolution, missing 7 starters, 2 of their top substitutes coming off the bench. You rip the Band-Aid off. What kind of performance do you get?
Well, it's congested in the midfield. Someone's going to have to sit.
Yeah.
But 7 games in the month of May, congested schedule, there'll be a lot of minutes for everybody.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right, this brings us to the keys to victory. What are you watching for?
It's a statement game. Again, when you go on the road and you lose 4-0, that rips the Band-Aid off. It forces you to take a good, hard look, not only as the individual players, the collective group, your teammates alongside of you, but also the coaching staff and what they're getting out of their group. Where's Wando? Chris Wondolowski is just 4 goals away from hitting 100 in Major League Soccer. His movement off the ball, his ability to keep his shots on frame, continuing to drift off the shoulder of defenders. He's one of the most dangerous strikers in Major League Soccer. And then ultimately, transition defending. When you turn the ball over in the midfield, how does your shape look in the back? What does the midfield balance look like? Which outside back's forward? Which outside's back? I'm really interested to see Vasquez and James and Olave, what the partnership looks like, especially with Beckerman in front. Now Nick Romando's back. Real Salt Lake has to come out, set the tone early. That first 15 minutes is vital, getting the crowd behind them, getting the momentum behind them, most importantly, getting the confidence back.
Friday night, KMYU, 8 p.m. It's a late start. 8 p.m. Our coverage starts right here on KMYU. We'll be with you from Rio Tinto Stadium. And Dave Fox will be up next with the NFL Draft and the NBA playoffs. Stay with us on Talkin' Sports.